welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Monday, July 10th, man. Summer's screaming by. Thanks for joining us. Me, along with meteorologist Wonder Boy. Haven't called him Wonder Boy in a while. Justin Storm and our wonderful, talented ag director, Bridgette. Readel. How was your weekend, guys? Good
My
weekend?
weekend was well. Played a bunch of softball.
Absolutely. Oh, you don't even look that sunburned for a softball weekend.
You know, surprisingly, I'm not. And I was out there all day Saturday and all afternoon Sunday.
That is good sunscreen management, my friend. Nice work.
How did you do? How did you do? Did you
walk-off grand slam, so that's good.
Nice. I've seen your bat swing. How in the heck do you hit a home run? It's like you tomahawk chop it, and it goes over the fence.
Yeah, tomahawk chop, man.
And Bridgette, you have a wonderful garden. You sent us a little short video of that. That thing is huge. It's like my whole front yard. That's my whole front yard. Basically, is your backyard garden.
It's coming right along. I was picking radishes, lettuce, and spinach. Of course, there's been plenty of rhubarb, mint, and a lot of berries. Strawberries and raspberries have been coming out already.
Nice.
Yep, I've just been training my peas and beans on the poles.
And they're kind of short this year. That hot weather we had early on really took a lot out of those plants. They said, I'm not going to get tall. I'm just going to start setting pods is what it looks like to me.
So does that affect the taste or the size or?
Yeah, probably just your yield.
Taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably might take some top end off your yield. But overall, we'll just wait and see. The problem with peas at my house is they don't actually get into the house. They just mostly get eaten in the garden.
Okay.
Yep. Garden peas.
And hey, I got to give a shout out to both of you two. One of your videos has went viral, and it's hit over 1 million views. So congratulations! Yep. That is awesome. And if you're wondering, it's on our YouTube channel. Here We Grow, and it was what's the name of the video again? It was the one where they laid the pipe in the field.
I think it's we're trying to farm here. I think is the name of the short. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we want people to know that that's an episode within a series. And please make sure you watch the follow-up one, because after that is how we explained why there was a road. Justin took the time to visit with our farmer cooperator, Jim, and get the background on what we knew from the landowner to himself as the renter, etc. So that works out just great. That the fact that we had more to it. So don't be misinformed. Watch one, but make sure you watch them all so you can keep up to speed on everything.
Those are all on the YouTube channel, Weather and Ag in Focus, and as well as on Facebook for all the shorts and the series of that. And the short that did reach the 1 million views was also on Facebook, but it is additionally on YouTube also. You can view all of them. And if you're watching the live stream, there was a QR code that was up there where you can just scan that to go to the series, or you can just search Weather and Ag in Focus. Here we grow. Yeah,
you guys are famous now. I heard they've been contacted by a couple of Hollywood agents. So congratulations. That's
I'm not going to say there hasn't been what would you call it? A proposal to turn it into a TV show.
We're going to need a lot more to talk about if we're going to do that. I don't know if we want to delve into reality TV, gentlemen. Just saying.
Oh, are you kidding? That would be perfect, man.
I think we would do well on it.
We'd have to bring on one of our favorite recurring guests, and that would be Dr. Fox from the Ashley Vet Clinic. We would want to make sure that we had her on because she's got the best stories.
Right. Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's touch on weather real quick. It was a kind of a split weekend. We had a hot day on Sunday. Saturday wasn't bad. And now today we've got a secondary kind of cool front swinging through the area, and that's switching our winds to the north and bringing a little bit of cloud cover with it. Temperatures right now in the low 70s across the area, and we're not going to move a whole lot more, probably mid, some spots upper 70s, while heat continues to bake areas of South Dakota all the way down into Nebraska and further south into Texas. And we'll kind of continue to hang on to these 70s most of the week. And there will be a day-to-day chance of a few showers and maybe a few embedded rumbles of thunder, but no heavy rain. In fact, over the next 5 to 7 days, maybe a 1/4 inch, to some spots a little bit more than that. So even though there's a lot of rain or days with rain in the forecast, it's just not going to add up to a whole lot. But looks like an unseasonably cool weekend coming this weekend. Or this upcoming weekend, if you have any travel plans or if you have any lake plans, it's going to be chilly with hit and miss showers both days, Saturday and Sunday. So if you're wondering where the summer heat is, boy, all long-term models are pointing towards that big heat ridge that's been kind of stuck over Texas and into the desert Southwest. That is building northward after mid-month. So we're going to see big changes as we head after about the 17th of the month. Things really look like they're going to start to heat up. And that's climatologically, that's the hottest time of the year. So,
well, it is, but how long is that going to last? Because for those who are thinking ahead about their field conditions, right? How long are we going to see that bit of a heat wave and so forth roll out?
Justin, have you had a chance to look at the extended at all?
You know, I've glanced at it, but I haven't dove too far into the to way out there. Just kind of the next 10 days.
Right. And what I was seeing maybe a week, 2 might be pushing it in our area. Now, you know, because the heat ridge will collapse a little bit, but areas down in South Dakota and the places that have seen the heat most of the summer will continue to see it. As this heat ridge builds north, we're going to be right on the northern end of it. So we'll be more susceptible to get these cold fronts, at least to give us some relief out of Canada for a couple of days. So I don't think it's going to be anything long term. In fact, if you want to check out WDAYradionow.com, I posted an article on there of just the remarkable resemblance of the pattern that's going to be setting up this weekend and how it coincided with the same pattern that we had at Christmas, which the cycle length was approximately 51 days. And if you count it backwards, it's about 204, 205 days when we had a very similar pattern. So the pattern is cycling right on schedule. And I also put a graphic up there what the LRC is expecting in rainfall, because this is important now, from the end of July through the month of August. So you'll want to log on and take a look at that article. It's titled LRC and the Rest of Summer, and it'll give you an idea of how much more rain we're expecting between the end of July and the month of August.
Well, now, considering there's usually a time frame for wheat harvest in there, that may impede some folks.
Mm-hmm. And
I was just taking a look at those the graphics of those 2 cycles, the one we're in right now and then the one back in December, and yeah, it's
spot on,
eerie identical. And Mike, I don't know if you got that rendered in yet, but if you do, if you could throw that graphic up of the December 23rd to July 16th 205-day LRC map.
Yeah, we put those in Slack for you there, Mike. So yeah,
if it's available, I don't know if it is or not for them.
But it's it just again goes to show how the cycle verifies, and again, this year 51 days. It'll be interesting to see what next month will hold. But in terms of precip, it did look like pretty good news. Now, you said you don't want a lot of rain during that time period. Is that correct, Bridgette? At least not for wheat.
Well, if we get not for wheat, if we're in the middle, if we're trying to get wheat harvested, that's going to be a problem because fields get wet and muddy. You can't get in them. You start to see a loss of quality on your wheat. You can see bleaching of it, et cetera. You know, one of the worst things that can happen, and we did see this, boy, I'm going to have to think about what year it happened, where we harvested and then the grain had to stand for so long until we could actually get in the field to harvest that the wheat kernels started re-sprouting on the top of the wheat head standing in the field. That's a loss of quality. That's really not what we're going for. So it does happen sometimes.
Right.
And what about for corn though? Sorry, Justin. What about for corn? Do we want the precip?
We'd still be in a growing season, so we take it for corn and even some for soybeans. As we should be in the midst of pod fill by that time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we got a guest that'll be joining us here in our next segment. So if you want to call in with questions, you can give us a call on the Red Wing Shoes phone line. That's 701-293-9000. Again, that phone number is 701-293-9000. Or you could also email us through the through our inbox system at weather@flagfamily.com or egg@flagfamily.com. And our guest today is going to be John Minalt. He's an asparagus farmer out of what state, Dean?
Illinois.
That's right. He's from Illinois.
He's got quite the rotation. He's asparagus
Illinois
and Christmas trees.
Now, and Bridgette, what part of Illinois is he from? Is he from central part of the state?
I bet we'll find out when we talk to John. I look forward to kind of hearing what he has to say because honestly, I have the interest in the asparagus. Some of you may want to listen to what he has to say about his Christmas tree business as well, but I found that was a very unique combination on a farm that someone might be raising.
It is, no doubt. No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to get him all lined up, and we're going to take a short moment here while we do that. So if you want to call in with a question, 701-293-9000, stay tuned because we'll be right back.
Rev up your engines for Track Talk with Jason Berg, the ultimate racing radio show every Monday night at 6:30 on WDAY Radio. From the hottest drivers, latest racing news and analysis, to recaps of the best dirt track races in the region. All live from O'Kelly's Bar and Grill. If the dirt's flying, you can bet Jason Berg is covering it. Track Talk is brought to you in part by Gateway Chevrolet, Brady's Service, O'Kelly's Bar and Grill, Magnum Contracting, and WDAY Radio.
It's about tradition, values, and family ties. Pucklet Chevrolet GMC's tradition of giving back to our community remains a priority, and that's why we've partnered with many local nonprofit organizations and events. And our tradition of giving this community a fair and honest offer continues. Right now, you can save over $6,000 on select new Chevy Silverado 1500s. We're Pucklet Chevrolet GMC in Valley City. Tradition, values, and family ties.
See dealer for details.
Does cold weather hold you back from getting your corn planted each spring? I'm Darren Hefty with Hefty Seed Company. Our Hefty brand 40 Series corn is the industry's only corn recommended for soils as cold as 40 degrees. How? We pick seed with the best vigor and highest cold germination scores. Then we treat every kernel with Hefty Complete Seed Treatment, providing even more protection from cold soils. In fact, we're so confident in our 40 Series corn, we back you up with a free replant policy. Plant 40 Series corn first. Plant 40 Series with confidence. Only at Hefty Seed Company.
Lynyrd Skynyrd, live in concert. Saturday, July 15th at the Red River Valley Fair in the all-finished concrete grandstand. Lynyrd Skynyrd, back on the road in 2023. Tickets on sale now at redrivervalleyfair.com. Lynyrd Skynyrd, produced by Pepper Entertainment.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Sunday at 6 a.m. Creative Planning is a wealth management firm that believes in a total approach to building wealth that includes taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other personalized elements. This approach allows you to receive advice that is aligned with your unique goals and always in your best interests. Why not give your wealth a second look? Visit creativeplanning.com. That's creativeplanning.com.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us 1:19 on this Monday afternoon. Having a little issue getting our guests connected here, so we're going to touch on a couple of ag topics here first. And let's talk a little bit about fertilizers, and this is involving the Spirit Wood from North Dakota's fertilizer plant. Bridgette, what can you tell me about this?
Mm-hmm. All right, Spirit Wood, North Dakota, which is over east of Jamestown. They have a bit of an industrial park starting out there. Not that Spirit Wood is a gigantic town by any means. In fact, it's actually pretty small. But they have had a number of processing and energy systems over there. Now there is work being done with a company called Next Era Energy. They're a large energy company. They are planning to build a fertilizer plant that is going to be based on hydrogen in that Spirit Wood Park. Now, a couple of reasons for that. First of all, there was a legislative bill passed that would give them a loan, but it would be available after their construction. So that ensures that the plant would come to fruition. Also, North Dakota is one of the last places in the U.S. that gets to plant their crop every year. So we're a little bit at the mercy of everybody else. What if you all used up our supply before we needed it? What if, like earlier this year, the Mississippi River is low and we can't get barge traffic to return fertilizer to points needed in Minnesota, where it then gets put on truck or rail and hauled out to us here in the rest of the state. And so it's a bit of a concern for a lot of folks that we might get shorted. Also, we don't get to tap into the times when pricing is most applicable to us. If you're a large farm, maybe you're using like say 1,000 tons of dry urea, which is a nitrogen source. And if that price can be anywhere from $700 to $1,200 per ton, think about the price difference on your input costs for your farm. So there's a reason right there why it's a good idea for us to look at building a plant at Spiritwood. I know there'll be more discussion coming around, but that is indeed something that's happening right now. Right now.
So has that ever happened before where we run into that, where we don't have much of a supply and that affects people up here? Has that happened before to some magnitude?
To some magnitude, because what you see is that oftentimes that fertilizer starts coming earlier in the season. So let's say right now we're refilling fertilizer plants for what could be applied in fall and then spring of 2024. But there can be some spot outages as we get towards spring where a plant is empty and they're waiting on trucks or rail. And we've seen not only strikes on rail, but also shortages with drivers to try to get product in position when we need it. So the bulk of our fertilizer is usually in place. It can be some of those spot outages. The bigger concern is probably price. Again, we saw some pretty big swings. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because if you got
to $1,200 a ton.
Yeah, that's a massive swing. And if everyone's using it up, the supply demand, even if you don't run out, if everyone else is getting in there first, it's like gas prices.
Right.
It'll just keep ticking up when you need it the most.
Yeah, you don't really get to throw yourself in front of a truck and say, no, this is mine. This is mine. You can't have it.
And you said that they were going to be using, was it a hydrogen to make the fertilizer? Mm-hmm. So is that how most fertilizers are made, or is it just a specific type? Isn't it like a nitrogen you're supposed to be using?
I'm thinking that at this point, this is maybe a little bit new, because think about all the different energy sources people are wanting to look at and investigate this at this time, especially with a lot of the conservation measures that we're seeing out of the current Biden administration. If we translate that over to ethanol has a place as a sustainable aviation fuel. Also, it could possibly be used as, instead of our gas engines, it could be used not just in gas engines, but it could be used in diesel engines. There's technology that would allow for that. So when you think about it, some of these new changes, whether it's with hydrogen, et cetera, there's some new things there that could be coming up and maybe a little bit easier for us to work with.
I see. And I was also wondering, because obviously it'd be nice to have something in our backyard immediately close to North Dakota. Do you know where the next, say, manufacturer is that would bring it in the closest to us, like the easiest? Is that a long ways away? Or are they pretty sporadic across the U.S.?
Most product is sourced outside the country. You see a lot of things that come to us from Russia, Ukraine, et cetera. As far as a finished product, there is some processing that happens down around the port cities on the Gulf, but overall, we don't see anything very close. Now, we do get like potash out of Canada, say Esterhazy, and those places, but a nitrogen source like urea would be a little different.
Okay, that makes sense. That's interesting. And while we're kind of talking about prices and whatnot, there's a few other prices that are moving around, and I think one of the biggest ones that's going to impact most people, especially here in North Dakota and the surrounding area, is the price of diesel fuel, and it's been going down. And that'll save a lot of people money, especially as we start heading towards harvest, if it stays low.
Okay, so which one of you thinks that your gas prices are better now than they were even a year ago? Maybe.
Well,
no.
Yes. Better than a year ago, but not better than 3.
Okay, so we established a new low for ourselves, right? We went from on gasoline from $2 to $4 a gallon, and we've settled at about 3. So we've given ourselves a new low, and we don't even complain about it anymore because it's been there for so long. Diesel fuel, having done that run up where they went from 3 to 5, even 6 and higher, they've now settled down a little bit as well. And right now, fuel economists will tell you that diesel prices are actually at their lowest level since Russia invaded Ukraine in early 2022. But that is a good point, Justin. It's not nearly as low as they were even before pandemic levels, et cetera, changed that. So yes,
Well, right, but
if you look
even
at
if
it
we can just
that
keep
way.
if we can just keep the prices at this new low, I mean that's going to be in ways significant for especially smaller farm operations.
Absolutely. And we have seen the use of tillage decline over the years. So less diesel fuel does get used on farms. But now you can take that less usage on farm with tillage, factor it into trucking and transportation, because that cost is still high. And that's still a part of our food inflation costs. So we can't get away from it there.
But that should start to bring, if the gas prices, let's say diesel continues to come down, that should help with some food prices, correct?
You would think so, but it won't help quickly, right? Like if you see a diesel price at the pump, it's not going to translate into food prices within a couple of weeks. It would not happen until like new crops started to arrive, really.
I was just going to say, because I remember when the pandemic was happening and we were losing all the truckers and then fuel started going up, it was like a year, maybe a year and a half after that we really started to see the inflation take off. So if we're going to use the same kind of mindset on that, we probably won't see the fuel prices affecting things until maybe late next year or early 2025.
That would be awesome. Yes, it might take us a little bit of time until we see that show up in what we see as our daily prices. That would be great.
And that would be coincident, right, in line with the new presidential election?
Probably, yes.
Oh, look at that.
What a coincidence.
Absolutely.
Oh, man.
All right, other things you guys want to talk about? It looks like we will probably have our guest here in just a few minutes as he's getting lined up. One thing to think about that this new places for ethanol to get used, there's something called Protium Energy. It's the newest opportunity in ethanol. And this is going to aim to use ethanol to produce clean hydrogen, which is hydrogen produced in a low carbon intensity. So that's also something new that we're doing with ethanol, which again is based on corn. So look at our opportunities of renewable fuels. Not bad.
That's great.
Right on.
That's fantastic.
That is great. And it does look like we have our guest on with us now. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break here real quick so that we can get a full segment in with John. But when we come back, we're going to be talking all about asparagus. So if you got questions, 701-293-9000. And again, when we come back, we'll have our guest on with us. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's the Coffee Club with Janae and Ronnie.
The car's gone wild.
If you ask, I was going to say, if you end up asking to see somebody's camshaft, you're going to get smacked. So,
They don't do it on a hot day.
Right.
There's no leather seats out there.
Yes, exactly.
I can't even talk right now. Your face is completely red from how hard you were laughing.
The Coffee Club, weekdays 8:30 to 11 on AM 970 and 93.1 FM WDAY.
In need of a reliable, durable building for your farm, business, man, or she shed? Look no further than Thor Buildings. At Thor Buildings, they specialize in post-frame construction. They use the highest quality materials to ensure that your building can withstand the toughest conditions. Buildings that are designed with your specific needs in mind and built to last. With their experienced team of designers, engineers, and construction experts, you can trust that your building will be built with the utmost precision and attention to detail. So when it's time to put the hammer down, build with Thor.
Keep your cool while the kids are out of school. Get a Kingpin Summer Bowling Pass and enjoy unlimited daytime bowling all summer break. Kingpins features hyper bowling, a new way to play. Hit the lights, earn multipliers, and score thousands of points. The kids, the family will love it. A summer bowling pass at Kingpins is just $30 per person. A summer of fun for everyone at Kingpins. Head to kingpins.com for more info or come and play for yourself. Find them at 3485 Jacks Way, South in Fargo. And it's time for the ultimate taco bar for lunch at Barron's. It's all-you-can-eat taco bar Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for only $10.99. Kingpin Summer Bowling Pass and all-you-can-eat taco bar at Barron's. This is the summer we were looking for. Hi, this is Kevin Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer's Auction Company. Pfeiffer's upcoming July auctions include 33 acres of potential development land north of Bismarck on Highway 83, 800 acres of exceptional cropland in Ward County near Minot and Deering, North Dakota, 21-acre farmstead near Brookings, South Dakota, 622 acres of crop and pasture land in Renville County near Glenburn, North Dakota, and the Erickson Farm Retirement Auction near Hettinger, North Dakota. View these auctions and many more land and equipment auctions at Pfeiffer's.com.
Hey, Ronnie, grilling season finally here this weekend. I'm going to sit on my deck with a cold beer and watch Alex grill some meat. Speaking of meat, Jay, our great friends from Meats by John and Wayne will be giving away a meat bundle this Thursday on your show. All you have to do is listen for the call-in song. Cheeseburger in paradise. And be the 9th caller.
Ronnie, there's a reason those guys have been voted best butcher shop in the Red River Valley since 2016. Meats by John and Wayne. All your meat needs.
Truck Talk is live at O'Kelly's Bar and Grill each Monday evening. Remember, happy hour is 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. with $1 off wells and tall taps plus half-price apps. And right now, you can get Busch Light Pounders for just $5 each. So come to O'Kelly's for delicious apps like bruschetta, street tacos, wings, stuffed mushrooms, shrimp skewers, or bacon Brussels sprouts half-price weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come for the apps and drink specials 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. and stay for Track Talk live at O'Kelly's each Monday. I-29 in Maine and Fargo.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. You're here along with myself, Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director, Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, and Justin Storm, Meteorologist Extraordinaire. And I want to give a big thank you to Peterson Farm Seed. They are one of our sponsors for Here We Grow. It is their soybeans that are in the field. They are the region's largest independent retailer for seed. They do a fantastic job, and we are so happy that they chose to partner with us, as well as Ellingson Drain Tile. And Ellingson is a company that's long known here in the Red River Valley for drainage, not only in farms, but in a variety of other projects. And we're going to learn what some of those are when we go to them tomorrow to work on our Here We Grow project with Ellingson. So I'm looking forward to that very much, guys. It'll be a good day with them.
Cool.
I know that they're going to show us examples of why drain tile water is cleaner than you might think. So we'll have that discussion.
Exciting.
The other interesting discussion we're going to have today is with our guest, and that is John Minalt. John is in Illinois. He raises asparagus and Christmas trees, and they're quite the combination. And John, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Yourself?
Great. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be with us. And tell us a little bit about where you are and what you do over there in Illinois.
Well, I'm on the northern Illinois border, right on the border of Wisconsin, so about as far north as you can get in Harvard, Illinois. And we grow Christmas trees and asparagus. It's quite the combination. Got a spring season and a fall season, and it'll keep you quite busy during the whole year.
Okay. I have to just start with maybe some of the easy questions here. How do you plant the asparagus? Are you doing it from seed? Are you doing it from a crown? How do you even get that started?
So we started from crowns. I've talked to a lot of people who start from seed, like in garden beds, but we were doing acres of the stuff. So you set up rows, just like any other row crop, and you create furrows with maybe like a middle buster or a single plow, and you create a furrow, and then you place the crowns in the furrow. You need a lot of people around to do it. It's just hand labor. And then you fill the furrow back in with your soil, and it takes about 3 years before you're going to actually get a crop. Like the asparagus will pop up in year 1 and year 2, but you really can't take it. It's too young. And then you start like harvesting in year 3 and thereafter.
Interesting. And John, how many other farmers around the country that you know of that actually grow asparagus?
So actual commercial farmers, there's quite a lot. Michigan has quite a collection of them out on the West Coast in California, Oregon. you'll find a lot of asparagus farmers. And I started a Facebook group of just Midwest asparagus growers, and we have people all over the country that grow asparagus. Now, they grow it at different levels. Some people are just gardeners, other people are 50 acres of asparagus and everything in between. But the number of commercial farmer with asparagus is not high.
Right.
Okay.
So I got a question here. When it comes to growing the asparagus, because it's all done by hand, it's planted, I'm imagining it's all harvested by hand as well, right?
Well, we harvest on harvest carts, so they're drivable, and they drive over the rows, but it's still handwork. I mean, the person driving the cart is harvesting the spears by hand.
Wow.
And we've been working on a prototype of a selective harvester, somewhat like a combine for asparagus. We've been working on that for a couple of years with a developer out in Oregon. And we're starting to make some headway. This year we finally got some progress made with it, where it was actually harvesting correctly and selectively.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was kind of amazing. Yeah, real cool.
So
it's still
if
not
you're
ready
working...
for,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's still not ready for prime time. It needs a couple more seasons. Hopefully we'll get it there. The season's so short that 6 weeks you're done. So I got to wait till next year to play around with it.
Right. Well, I was just going to ask if this is something that you're working on. Is this a prototype that you're working on for your personal use, or is there other things available that it is mechanically harvested for asparagus across the United States, or is there just nothing available of something that's like that?
This is somewhat of a unique prototype. I don't think there's another one like it. There is one other prototype, I believe, in the United States that's being worked on by another individual, but I don't think there's anything that's like commercially marketable, like, where you walk into the John Deere dealer and buy a combine. Nothing like that.
Right. So before we got off that, just talking about, harvesting all this by hand, I was going to ask you, because when it comes to commercial sized operations, we got asparagus everywhere. You go to the grocery store, you can get it anytime you want. What is considered a large operation in terms of asparagus? We talk about corn, we're talking thousands of acres, but if you're doing something by hand, is 50 acres about as big as you go, or what's that look like?
Well, I'd say anything over 10 is fairly large. And when we got started in it, we visited a farm in Wisconsin that had 25 acres, and the one piece of advice they told us was don't do this many acres, just because you're not going to be able to handle it. It's just too hard. So we ended up with a little less than half of that, and that's more than enough for us. And the folks that I'm referring to, the great people, but they can't harvest all 25 acres in any one year. They just can't get the manpower to do it.
And John,
you're harvesting every single day.
And John, I grew up just south of you, Plainfield, Illinois. And by the way,
I know where that's at.
By the way, I love the Chicago accent. Oh man, I miss that. I miss that so much. Now, the derecho that came through Illinois, was it last week or the week before? Did that affect you at all, or was that mainly south of your? That was mainly south of your area, was it not?
I think that was south of our area.
Okay.
Yeah, we were hit by one of those a couple of years ago, but this one we were spared.
Oh. And in terms of the asparagus, is that more drought resistant than other crops, or is it pretty much the same?
No, I have to think you're onto something there, because I think about this all the time. Today I was out working in the field, and those crops looked wonderful. We were in a serious drought.
Mm-hmm.
So the roots are down so deep that I don't really believe they need a whole lot of water. We don't water it. We're not irrigated. So
okay.
We get whatever we get out of the clouds, and they look green as green could be.
So, John, that raises a question from me, and that would be, is this like alfalfa where the asparagus stands are good for a certain amount of years and then you have to tear them up and replant? with new stands, or do you think they're just almost perpetual in their number of years of production?
I think both of your answers are correct. From what I have read, some of these stands will last 15 to 25 years, and then there are other stands that have been going on for generations. From what I've read, some of the university egg sites, I think it just has to do with how you maintain them, how nutrient management, how you take care of your weed management, like any other crop. And I think that makes a difference. So it does come back every year. It really does.
So here's one for you.
As a matter of fact.
That was kind of leading into what I was thinking, because you can get multiple harvests off of asparagus, can't you? So how many times are you going out throughout a season to harvest?
Well, we harvested it for 5 straight weeks. Normally we would have some rain days in there. We never saw a rain day, so it was 35 straight days of harvesting.
Wow.
And we wanted to go one more week. We normally get 6 weeks, but the heat and the drought, like other plants, they bolted, they go to seed real quick, and that's just the end of the year. So, but 35 straight days of harvest, and it's a commitment.
Sure sounds like it.
So, John, do you have to do anything fertility-wise? Are you fertilizing in between all of this to keep those crowns healthy and reproducing?
Well, in the spring we fertilize. We do nutrient management based on soil tests. So we'll soil test every other year and fine-tune the nutrient management. But they take nitrogen just like corn or beans do. A little higher needs probably in the potash and phosphorus. But that's a spring event. We do that before harvest, and we don't actually do it a second time. It's just a one-time thing in the spring, and you're done. The rest of it is just weed management.
Okay. And then what's your market, John? Are you selling into a cannery, or are you a U-pick market or a fresh farmers market? Where does your asparagus go?
I don't do the cannery, but I do all the other ones you mentioned. So we do allow U-pick people to come out on the weekends. We sell to local restaurants in McHenry County and Walworth County, Wisconsin. We sell direct from the farm 7 days a week. And we sell to people who take it to farmers markets. We don't actually go ourselves to the farmers markets, but we do sell to pretty much all the farmers markets in the area, carry our product.
John, this is fascinating because up here, asparagus is either in your garden or wild in a ditch. So how long did it take you to establish plants and then begin to cut it commercially?
About 3 years to establish that stand.
Wow.
And every spring we were planting for 3 years, and then you got to wait a couple seasons before you go. So we might have been into it 5 years before we started getting the quantities needed to sell in volume. And we're at that point now. So we got a nice system in terms of good people working for us, good crews out in the field, good crews in the processing room. We wash it, we cut it to size, and band it and pack it. So they're really of really high quality. There's nothing woody at the end. We've already cut out any of that out. And by the time that gets to be a woody product, we just close the field. We're done for the year if it gets like that.
So what are some of the things you need to be concerned about when growing asparagus? Is there any diseases that they're susceptible to? Any pests that just love asparagus? Anything like that usually would keep you concerned?
Yeah, both of what you just touched on. So there's the primary pest is asparagus beetles, and they look very similar to the beetles you'll see like on soybeans, on your apple trees where they eat the leaves and stuff, on your fruit trees. So that's one pest you have to deal with. And then from a disease standpoint, the other ones are really fungal diseases. And you'll see that if you have a wet year, a real wet, humid year, If your rows are too close together where you're not getting good ventilation, then you could see some, fungal type of damage. But if you got good spacing on your rows, the fungal is minimal. I'd say the Japanese beetles or the asparagus beetles are definitely the bigger one that you're going to have to tackle.
I see. And what is that spacing that you separate the asparagus by?
We're on 6-foot rows, so that gives you plenty of space in between there. It also makes my life a little more difficult with weeds because the canopy doesn't close up as well because the rows are wider. But I don't have any fungal problems in my crop either. I mean, you go through the whole acreage and it's as green could be.
That's good. I got one last one here for you. Say someone was thinking about maybe wanting to grow asparagus on a larger level than just a few plants in their backyard garden, and they maybe wanted to utilize a small little piece of land that's not big enough to really grow many other things. But if you have like an acre or two of just land sitting on the side, and someone was thinking, well, maybe I'll put a few years into this and grow asparagus, what would you say to somebody who's thinking about doing that? Is it more of a hobby thing for fun, or is there some decent money to be made a few years down the road in asparagus?
You could make money. I mean, on a per acre basis, it's a very profitable crop. It'll outdo corn and beans at any time. But it's labor intensive, and you're going to need to have more than 1 or 2 acres to make some commercial viability out of it. Maybe I'd say at least 5 acres to do something like that. And then I'd say, contact your local ag department at your state university. And there's a company out on the East Coast called Norse Farms, and they are a large supplier of asparagus crowns, and they have all kinds of information available to get somebody started.
Cool. Well, you might have to throw the old warp speed on your asparagus harvester there, make it a little easier if we decide to grow some asparagus over here.
Nobody would be happier to see that thing working than me. I can tell you that. That would be a lifesaver. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, John, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate you giving us a little detail on how raising asparagus is for you. Hey, you want to throw out that Facebook page again, or any social media places that you guys upload some fun, interesting videos to, or anywhere you'd want someone to go to get a little more information about what you do?
Sure. I would check out Midwest Asparagus Growers on Facebook. That's a group we started, and we're pretty close to 1,000 farmers, growers nationwide now. And then we have a website, spearstoyou.com, and you could check out our story and what we do personally on our farm that way.
All right, right on. Well, again, thanks, John, for joining us. We're going to take a look at the American Ag Network now. And when we come back, we got another ag topic and another look at the forecast, so stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. You know, weather is always changing, so if it's the morning commute with Bonnie and friends, or the drive home with Jay Thomas, or if you have important weekend plans, be sure to join meteorologist Justin Storm and myself to get you the current conditions and future conditions to get you through the day. For the most accurate forecast in the Valley, keep it here at AM 970, 93.1 FM, WDAY.
What do eyewear and weather have in common? Join us for the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast to find out. Each Tuesday morning, Dean Wysocki, Justin Storm, and myself, Ashley Freeborn, owner of Aspire Optical, will bring you the 7-day forecast.
You never know where we'll be or how it will be presented, but we promise to bring you the most accurate forecast this side of the Red River.
And learn how you can save big on eyewear from Aspire Optical.
Watch the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages.
Trust us, this is weather and eyewear like you've never seen.
We've got Brian in studio from Collins & Kronk Raymond James.
Brian, I was visiting with my girlfriend the other day, and she's just a few years from retirement. She was wondering if she can still retire if there's a recession just around the corner.
This is why planning is so important. When Collins & Kronk does a financial plan for you, we look at several different scenarios. We consider the positives, or the good times, as well as the bad. What if there is a recession? We do the math so we can answer your questions with confidence. We want to help you make smart decisions like when to retire or what investments to use.
Whether it's a recession or an economic boom, Collins & Kronk can help you make the right decisions. If you have $500,000 or more, call Collins & Kronk in Fargo today. 701-235-0119, 701-235-0119. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Collins & Kronk is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
Soy Complex continues to be the upside leader on Monday. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen with this market update. Being joined now by Arlen Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX for market analysis. Arlen, as we kick off the week here on Monday, an important week with the July WDAY report coming up on Wednesday. Soybeans, though, a pretty bullish start to the week with 30-some cent gains being seen in soybeans, a good strength of bean oil, bean meal. Overall, what's your take on the bullish momentum in the soy complex today?
Well, we saw a lot of bullish enthusiasm in the soybean complex after that June 30th acreage report, and stocks, with stocks being tighter than what the trade expected and acreage being much smaller than anyone expected, where we lost 4 million acres of soybeans somehow between March and June. But that enthusiasm kind of waned through the holiday week, but it's back again today. There's virtually zero margin for error with this soybean crop. We have to have a good yield. On above trend yield would be helpful, and that may be a challenge after the rough start we had to the growing season. So we are seeing that strength in soybeans. The gains limited somewhat by the fact that this rally post June 30th is helping buy more soybean production in Brazil for the coming growing season. Nonetheless, we still are looking for tight old crop and new crop supplies here over the coming year. Corn is kind of along for the ride. We do have expectations of seeing the grain initiative with Ukraine come to an end a week from today. There's still talk, it's still possible it could be revived, but at this point it's looking doubtful. That's providing some support as well as we go through the day today.
And thank you very much, Arlen Suderman with StoneX. Right now in the livestock trade, steady to firm, and cattle and hogs were mixed around unchanged. Crude oil down 3 cents, 73.83. This is the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
You know the voice.
Signed name Dale with some bogus A. I didn't know anybody still used AOL.
Me neither. Yeah.
I kind of have an idea. I'm pretty sure I know who this is.
Probably knows Tom from MySpace.
Yeah.
The Jay Thomas Show, weekdays at 2 on 970 AM and 93.1 FM, WDAY Radio.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
Will we see sun, or is it going to be hiding all day?
Once the sun gets up a little higher angle, you will start to see some. But
How come you didn't yell at Bonnie? Ty took your open, then she said, "We're going to see the sun today?" Well, it's in my forecast. Can't you wait till I do the forecast? But nobody yells at Bonnie. You don't yell at Bonnie.
No, you don't.
No.
You don't make mom mad.
No, man.
Not good. You'll get thumped.
You don't mess with Iron Range chicks.
No, see, you are a smart man.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette, Readel, Ag Director. I love it when the sounders go off at the right time. That's perfect. The guy behind the sounders today is Dean Wysocki, Chief Meteorologist. Do you have one, Dean?
I don't. No,
don't worry. I got a special one I got to put in there for you.
I should have had John do. I should have had John do something with that Chicago accent. Should have had him do.
You know what your sounder is going to be, Dean?
I can't wait.
It's going to be a little dirt bike going brop 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 brop. You already know the joke.
I know, Kawasaki. Yeah.
Kawasaki, yes. And so that third voice y'all hear would be Justin Storm, meteorologist extraordinaire. And
whoops, that was the wrong one. There we
go.
So
close. There.
I was like, trivia time.
Before we get to a recap of the weather and so forth, I have two little tidbits for y'all. Now that we're in the month of July 6th, 1997, the skies over Greater Vancouver were lit up by more than 7,000 lightning strikes in a 90-minute period. 7,000. That's got to be just like a constant barrage, right? In 90 minutes.
Wow. That's a lot of thunderstorms. Yeah. Over Vancouver. Oh, just over the city? Over the city
Greater
of Vancouver?
and southern Vancouver Island.
Okay. Wow. For 90 minutes. That's just training of thunderstorms. Wow.
Does that ever happen again? Ever? We've seen something like that?
Usually.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
and who counts 7,000?
Calculator.
This guy outside without a golf club pointing towards the sky.
Piece of paper and a pen, just making little check marks every time one goes.
No, the satellite can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's certain satellites.
Okay. Well,
that
this
will
was
do that.
1997.
Wow.
But going further back in 1888 on July 11th, so that would be tomorrow. It's going to be tough. Monongahela River rose 32 feet in less than 24 hours. That was resulting in flash flooding in the state of Pennsylvania.
Monongahela.
You say that river again?
Monongahela.
Is that a real name? Did I make that up? It's in Pennsylvania. This river in Pennsylvania went up a lot.
There you go. There you go.
I like it.
We can't say their river name. They can't say Lake Sakakawea. It's all fair. So
It's just a toss-up. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you what, guys. It is really, really nice and sunny out there, unless you're on I-94.
I was just going to say it's cloudy here.
It's just one band of clouds parked from Bismarck all the way what looks to be almost Brainerd, probably a 40, 50-mile wide band rope of clouds over the interstate, and it's blocking our sunshine, but lots out there around the state.
I'm looking north. It does look much nicer just north of town.
Well, and if you're looking for a break in that cloud base, hey, quick shout out here. Our listener, Jim, he said he really enjoyed listening today and wanted to let us know there is an asparagus farm in Red Lake Falls, Minnesota. So there is one close to us, guys. Just thought I'd share that
road trip.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Well,
Add it to our list. So back to the weather.
Maybe this will be our crop next year.
Like in 3 years after we establish it.
Well, but then who are we getting to harvest it?
We'll just get the high school baseball team to go in there like that hemp farmer does.
Yeah, well, that was a different plant. I mean,
we'll work on that.
Justin, you want to recap the weather real quick before we go?
Yeah, let's recap the forecast here. So like I said, we got a band of clouds over I-94 right now. That'll be pushing further south, and then skies will go partly cloudy and should be mostly sunny by the end of the day. We'll have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s with a north wind around 10 to 20 miles an hour, which goes lighter throughout tonight with temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s. Partly cloudy, but it will turn more cloudy for your Tuesday afternoon. Can't rule out a couple of light rain showers. Otherwise, we'll have temperatures in the mid-70s, northeast winds 5 to 15, and we'll get another round of showers coming through overnight Tuesday, bleeding into Wednesday with highs in the mid-70s, and we're basically dealing with about a 20 to 30% chance for a few scattered showers or a couple of storms all the way into the upcoming weekend, but don't discourage your plans. There's going to be lots of dry hours in there, and they look like they'll be the hit or miss variety of showers and some storms. So for the most part, we got temperatures right where they should be, a few degrees either side of 80 all the way through this week. So the forecast looking pretty good, and a lot of us will get some much needed moisture, at least at some point throughout this week. But that'll do it for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus today. Thanks for joining. We're back tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.